Hello there.
Hi, Bob, and hi to the viewers and the followers on different media channels. And thank you very much for joining in with us today. So thanks, Bob. So what questions do you have today, Bob?
So today, hi everybody, we're going to talk about the impact or the solution this technology can bring to the crisis that we're in, the environment, the polluting, the burning of everything we hold dear.
Yeah,
To get some energy.
Yeah, absolutely. We all need energy to survive, whether it's from the sunshine or from our plants. But and I think the population of the planet is slowly waking up rather painfully to the fact that we do have a runaway climate problem. But it's almost like the story of the frog, basically, where the frog, if you heat the water up on the frog stays there and doesn't jump out the pot and basically dies. Or if you put him if it's too quick, basically the frog pops out, realizes it's too hot and jumps out the pan. And I think for many people, especially in the countries that use the most energy, which is Europe and North America, then and they basically, people are like a bit complacent. Whereas you look at India at the moment, the wet bulb temperatures have gone up so high, people are just dying. 50% of the wheat crop, I think, in India is going to fail this year because of the temperature. So we've got a global crisis of energy, and energy for humans is food. I think China just got in nine years of supply of carbohydrates for their population. I don't think, in UK, we've got 3 months supply, and the United States is probably the same. So let's talk about energy and how we can basically, our energy cells, and how we can basically help the problem at the moment. A lot of hot countries are overheating. So, air conditioning sales are going through the roof. Air conditioning use is going through the roof. In those countries, you're getting brownouts, especially in India, parts of Africa, parts of Asia. You've got brownouts happening because basically people just need to cool themselves. You can't survive in a wet bulb temperature, I think, above 35 degrees centigrade. You just die. So how does ENG8, how do our energy cells help? Well, there's two ways of that helping, Bob. One is the energy cells themselves can basically go into ammonia cycle or absorption cycle chillers, and they can basically provide the cooling. So they can go outside buildings, outside apartments, in fact, even inside them, and they can provide basically a cooling effect. What does that do, though? That provides heating to the environment outside, but it's just steam going out into the environment. Mm-hmm. What's actually, if you look at the way everything else is going, especially in these countries that need a lot of cooling at the moment, it's gas, it's hydrocarbons. They're using electricity to drive the compressors on the air conditioning machines. And that's effectively releasing more greenhouse gases, the methanes and the carbon dioxides into the atmosphere, as well as the particulates. And if you look behind me at a big city that's getting very, very hot, you're getting the smog. Those particulates, the nitrous oxides, the sulfates, are killing people with respiratory diseases. So it's not just the heat that's killing, it's the pollution that's killing. So pure clean energy is what comes out of an energy cell. We use water the household's using anyway, to basically cool that house or heat that house.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what I would say is, like, there is areas where we're like desperate for water as well. Like, how do you see that? As in, don't we move? I mean, this is a big step, of course, but then are we not kind of like in a situation where water becomes scarce or something?
Well, there's a lot of water in the sea, as you know. A lot is desalinated. And the problem with desalinated water, the problem with all the big desalination plants, nearly every desalination plant in the world has got a problem, which is actually it ejects hot toxic brine into the sea. And maybe we can do a whole webinar type thing on desalination. But we actually worked for a number of years with some scientists who developed a way of actually desalinating water that produces pure salt, and it produces pure water. And so one of the things hopefully we're working on later on this year is actually integrating the energy cells into a zero emission desalination plant, because we can produce 400 times more energy from that cubic meter of water, then we actually basically then it took to desalinate it. So effectively, we can see in the future that we'll have big desalination plants running, taking water from the sea, creating fresh water from it for people for farming. And by the way, that's one of the tests we're going to be doing with the University of Aveiro this year in Portugal, is actually what is the water like that we're producing from the energy cells? How does it actually affect the growing of crops?
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing that environmental validation testing.
Yeah.
So going back to your question, there's really an unlimited amount of water on the surface of the earth, depending on where it is. A lot of it, of course, I think 75% of the world's population, or 75% at least of the urban population of the planet, live on the coast, because they're all the old trading ports that effectively grew up, like London, New York, Shanghai, Singapore, etc., Sydney. They're basically all on the ocean or all on a river, major river system. So yeah, we could basically take that water, we can power those cities.
Yeah.
So there's a very practical way of doing it.
And I can imagine that as soon as this technology starts working and is integrated, you make free so much energy that you can use that energy to manage the water, to, you know, to get rid of all those things if there's any problems arising. Yeah,
basically there's a couple of interesting problems with water though, which is one is the rivers are highly contaminated by hormones, contraceptive tablets, and antibiotics, and that's not filtered out in the sewage plants. So one of the things we're looking at doing with energy cells is actually using the energy cells to use the water at the ejected side of the sewage plant for basically doing what we're doing. So we put them through the energy cells. It basically neutralizes all the antibiotics and all the hormones, and then it puts into back into the river system totally purified water going straight into the river system, so that we don't have polluted rivers. We can take everything else out, and so that's a big project that we will be working on, not this year, but I guess next year. And the faster we can find companies that are in this space to work with, the better. For example, a company the other day from Sydney actually got in touch with us, Sydney Water Authority. They're huge. And they said, like, how can we use an energy cells? And we said, like, this is how we could work. So they said, fine, basically, we need to get an energy cell down there to demonstrate the system. It's one of the things that we're in discussions with the Technical University of Sydney at the moment to get it down there. And as soon as we've done that, we should be able to get a lot of resource to commit to basically purification of water using energy cells, both in desalination and in water purification from the back end of sewage plants. And also, there's so much industrial pollution of water going into the river systems. So, excuse me, that's something we're going to be really looking at going forwards.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, we all feel, I think, when we stop and think and look around, that we need a different approach to how we're doing this, looking at the background where you're sitting right now. Yeah. Like, if you really think about it, this is such an opportunity, and we should all just jump on this, like, it is really incredible what you're saying and how we've been talking about this technology. You're like, let's get this going, because we can make it
absolutely.
We can make it so much better for so many people here. Like,
yeah, I think this afternoon we're starting this Twitter Spaces this afternoon, and we've had feedback already from the Twitter stuff that we had. But there are people direct messaging us saying how how can we engage, and I'm sure one of the viewers will be smiling because he's got this printing plant up in Scotland, and he's actually out checking how he's got £250,000 worth of energy going into his printing works. So he's seeing basically how we can what thermal, what electrical split is, and the chillers as well running. So he has to heat, chill, and power with electricity to the machines. And so it's the more people we can get that are listening to this conversation, that are sharing this conversation, that can give their problem. They say they got a problem. Everyone's got an energy problem. Well, they should be communicating that with us. We'll say basically how we can assist, and then we can then work out practical ways of doing it with them using different forms of finance. Some of it can be grants, some of it can be debt, some of it can be investment from the companies themselves that have got the energy problem. If someone's got £250,000 energy burn, for example, a year, then there's ways of really reducing that. So, basically some capital equipment, it might cost, half of that a year, or maybe the same amount a year. But then in year 2, he's going to have no energy cost.
Yeah.
Do
you want to quickly touch on, because you said it before we started the recording, how also the model that you guys envision helps this way?
So at the moment in the beta testing systems, what we're saying to people is that basically, if you want to beta test with us, then we can basically sort out the capital costs between us and get it covered, and then we'll then give you the energy for a period of time, basically for free from the energy cells, and so that enables us to really engage fast with industry, or fast with people with just heating their houses, for example, get systems into use, get them tested, making sure they're safe, they're reliable. We're not going to let them out if they're not safe, but obviously get that reliability pushed up more and more and more. But at least they're getting out there, getting used, and then engaging with businesses so they can start manufacturing these energy cells. But the main thing is, what going forwards is, for example, if you're a manufacturer of air conditioners, or you're a manufacturer of boilers, you manufacture a boiler or an air conditioner, when it goes out the door, you don't actually make any money from it, because the energy companies are now charging your customers for the energy. So what we do is we do like an energy joint venture with the customer and the manufacturer of the equipment. So we share the benefits, we share the savings. So everybody benefits. The end user gets a big discount off their energy for using clean energy. The company that's manufacturing the equipment gets double the profit margin from every machine that they manufacture that's powered by an energy cell. So that way, there's super incentives for the manufacturers to make as much product with energy cells as possible. Excuse me. And there's real incentivization financially as well as morally for the people that are basically powering their houses or their business equipment using energy cells.
Haslam, this is what what speaks to me a lot is that you guys and that we are in this with this technology, really to also change how his energy is distributed. But it's not what I mean. I mean more like everybody wins. We're gonna push this forward to. And it's not about smashing the competition or this. Of course, there is business, but this is about giving everybody affordable energy. If you're living in a hut somewhere or in a big mansion, and that speaks in the model, that speaks in the technology. That's really what is so impressive about this.
Well, just look at the city behind me, basically. The only way of getting energy into that city is basically gas network, a gas network, or it's like electricity. To put a new electricity grid into that city is decades of work. We haven't got decades, but the tipping points are already being hit. I mean, there's research out this week that shows, most countries, 50% of the world's countries will basically hit the 1.5 increase in the next 5 to 6 years. There isn't a decade left to basically stop the problems that are happening behind me. It has to be done now. And therefore, you can't have utility scale systems doing it, because the utility scale systems operated by the large energy companies and the large corporations, basically, they can't be built that fast.
Yeah.
You've got to have something small and modular that can go in every house behind me. And if it can go in every house that's behind me, in every city in the world, basically, then you can decarbonize the planet fast. I mean, solar's great. If you've got a farm, you've got a rural house, great. You've got the footprint on the roof, to put it there. You've got space in your farm or your garage, your house, basically, maybe to put a wind turbine out there, maybe not. But if you live in an urban environment, you haven't got the space. There isn't the energy density of the system.
Yeah.
Energy cells are power dense. They can go in every house, pretty much every house. I'm not saying everyone, because, you know, in places like Hong Kong and some, you know, cities in, you know, behind us, you know, people are living in 12 square meter apartments. But then we can put the energy cells in the building, and they can be cooling that building. They can be purifying the water in that building. They can be sorting out so many problems in these buildings. So yeah, whether you've got a house or whether you're managing a building, just get in touch with us. You're operating industrial machinery, get in touch with us. We'll try and work out the best solution we possibly can to reduce your energy cost, and also to make your products much more profitable, and to keep the lights on in your factory, because with 3 to 5 times energy price increases in many parts of Europe, we've seen at the moment, North America, it's crippling. So crippling business, it's crippling families, it's crippling society. So yeah, tackle the energy crisis with us, get an EnergiCell, get into your house, do it now.
So clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's try and get this out to as many channels as possible today, Bob, and let's keep spreading that news. And thank you so much for helping me.
It's a pleasure. This is why we're spreading this information. And for everybody's watching, join our Twitter. We're also on Facebook, the YouTube, subscribe, and just engage with us. If you feel like that, engage, because we're really trying to build this as a community. Yeah. And people talking about it, and then this snowball just goes bigger and bigger. And that's what we're doing right now in this phase.
I think maybe actually, Bob, what we could do is we could do a live Zoom. So we just got our big commercial account on Zoom now. So basically, maybe we do our recording, and then every day we can do the Twitter Spaces at 3 o'clock, which is voice. We have speakers, but maybe we just do a big Zoom, so people can come and Zoom us. And you know, I think the limit's 300, but and we're nowhere near there yet. But we'll get there. And
yeah,
people can
jump in
every day, and they can just go like, you know, there's a Zoom. You know, 10:30 every morning, Central European time, 10:30, 11:30 Central European summertime. They can join us. So thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Wesley.
So
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.